Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. This morning we are going to talk about Veiled and Spoke by Jocelyn Green. This was the January 2024 inaugural book for book club. And y'all, have you read it? Have you heard of it? It's book one in the Windy City Saga. It is historical fiction, and it is phenomenal. So, a little background. I picked up my first Jocelyn Green book last year. That was The Metropolitan Affair. This is her first book in a new series. I'm not sure what it's called. And I will tell you exactly how far I got. Bookmark is still in the book. Page 214, aka chapter 22. And I DNF'd the book. I was bored out of my brain. A lot of people love this book. I am not in that camp. It is currently a soft DNF for me. It was a soft DNF when I DNF'd it. It's called On Central Park is the series for this book. And I was very, very on the fence with her as an author because I was so incredibly bored. However, this cover, the setting, I couldn't say no. I own all 3 books in the series. Book 2 is Shadows. It's right here on the White City. And it is on my February TBR. Here's book 2. Book 3 is on my shelf up top. And based on the strength of this book alone, I will tell you right now, she may become a favorite author. There is so much depth in this book. I was so blown away. I don't normally annotate, and by a lot of people, that's not a lot of copious notes. For me, that's a lot of annotation in a book. Our main heroines are Meg and Sylvie. They, along with their father, own a bookshop in Chicago in 1871. Their dad served the Union in the Civil War and was a prisoner of war in Andersonville. And if you know anything about the history of Andersonville, it was an incredibly bad place. To say atrocities were committed is a gross understatement. Their dad returns home and he suffers from, and it wasn't immediately diagnosed, but he suffers from what we would today recognize as PTSD. And in 1871, it's called A Soldier's Heart. It was first diagnosed in the American Civil War. It was a real thing. It is a historical fact. Doctors in the Civil War noticed a disturbing thing that men who fight in wars do not escape it without scars. Not just physical scars, but emotional and mental scars. And Stephen, the girl's father, is no different. And the book opens up, and their mother has died in the not too distant past. And the girls are in charge of caring for their father and running the bookstore and worrying about finances and how to feed people and keep their father from hurting himself, hurting others. And you see a very clear difference between both Meg and Sylvie. Meg has assumed the burden of taking care of her dad and has unwavering faith that with time and compassion and their love, he will recover. He's been home almost 7 years, but she still thinks he's time and compassion will set his mind right. Sylvie, the younger of the two sisters, has reached her breaking point, and she has what can only be described as compassion fatigue. And she says in the book at one point, she says, my father did not come home. A man named my father came home, but my father did not come home. And you, my darling older sister, have abandoned me to take care of him. And I am left to do all of the mundane, everyday business things. And you feel for Sylvie. She's at her breaking point. She's young. She's 18, 21. She's responsible for the business. She's responsible for, keeping everybody clothed and fed, and her father sane, and her sister. You feel for her. And then the Great Fire of Chicago happens, and Stephen, the girls convince him that they need help, and could he please go find a cart so that they could save something from the bookstore so that they could rebuild. He says yes. He takes his gun. He goes out in search of a cart, and the noise and the smoke and the general confusion overwhelm him, and things happen. He never returns. The girls have to escape for themselves. And after the fire has been contained and they discover their father has been arrested for murder and committed to the Chicago Sane Asylum, where they are not allowed to visit him, and he has no hope of getting released. Meg is grievously injured in the fire. Her hands are burned. There's just one thing after another. And you are reminded of the trials of Job as you read this book, because it's a continual there's just a lot going on in this book. It is, and it everything going on isn't unconnected to the things preceding it or the things following it. And it is beautifully written. And you follow the girls as they try to prove their father's innocence so that he can be released, as they try to rebuild their life, their shop where they lived above it. Sylvie falls in love, or so she thinks. Meg falls in love, but it is so impactful. I loved this book. I This book will... Okay, let me put it this way. On a very personal level, this book spoke to me. Compassion fatigue is a very real thing. And no matter how hard you try to always be available and willing and present for those you love that need your help, it is exhausting, and it is impossible to always give of yourself, because eventually you run out and there is no more to give. Not for yourself, not for your family, not for the person who needs your help. It just runs dry, and you end up resentful and guilty that you can't give anymore because there's just nothing left. And eventually you have to make a choice to give until you are just a functional husk, or draw some boundary lines and enforce them so that you have space to breathe and be. And it's very hard to draw those lines, and it's very hard to enforce them, and it's very exhausting. And that is beautifully portrayed in this book. And it's a book that will help you if you're dealing with compassion fatigue. If you know someone that is, help you understand that it's okay to say, I have no more to give. I need some time. My brain and my body and my spirit need time just to be. Because if I am not taking care of myself, I cannot possibly take care of someone else. There is a flip side to that, and we get, as a modern society, so involved in the self-care that we forget that there are other people. But that's a different discussion. So I highly recommend Veiled in Smoke. If you know nothing about the Great Fire of Chicago of 1871, it's a great read. If you or someone you know suffers from compassion fatigue, it's a great read. If you or someone you know suffers from PTSD, it's a fantastic read. If you are tired of books only set on the East Coast or England or any other popular locations, this one's set in the Midwest, and it reads like a Midwest book. And if you're from the Midwest, you'll understand that. It is a book that will make you think. It will make you grateful for those you love. It will make you grateful for those who help you set up and establish and maintain boundaries. It will give you compassion for those who are suffering and make you grateful that while all suffering is horrendous, it will make you grateful that whatever that suffering is, it may not be to the extent that Stephen's suffering was. I She is an amazing Civil War author. This series, and yes, I realize it takes place after the Civil War, but if you know nothing of Andersonville, I didn't know that the Union committed atrocities, not to the extent of Andersonville, but they did commit atrocities. And this book brought them to light. It was not just finger pointing at the South, it was finger pointing at the North as well. All of that is in there. It is a very well balanced book. The faith in it is phenomenal. And the reminder to let go and let God is a consistent theme throughout this book. And a consistent reminder that we are incapable as broken human beings to alleviate another suffering, and that we have to take care of ourselves so that we can serve God and help others. And seriously, if you haven't read it, please go pick it up. It is a beautiful book. Please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.